Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Today's going to be a new set of videos you haven't seen on this channel before, and there's a few reasons for that. One, yesterday I broke 1 million views on my channel. I have no idea how or why, but over 1 million people have viewed something that I made, and I never thought in a million years literally that could happen. Well, it has. We broke 1 million views, and we're about to break 4,000 subscribers, which is I don't have words. So I just want to say a special thank you to everyone. This video is not going to come out for another week or two. Who knows where I'll be at that point, but thank you for hitting that thumbs up button. It really helps new people find my content, whether it's a short or a full-length video. It really helps. Thank you for subscribing. It's amazing. I get anywhere from 15 to 30 new subscribers every single day, and frankly, I don't know what you see in this bald prick, but I guess I'm doing something right. So today we're going to be starting a new chapter in Monkey Wrench. We are still going to do riding lawnmowers, zero turns, and other power equipment. I've done tractors in the past, farm tractors, things like that. We're still going to be doing all of that stuff, but we are officially taking a new track to boat and boat motors and jet skis and anything marine related, and I'll tell you why. I live in Florida, and whatever's going on with the weather, I'm not going to get into that. All I know is it used to be that we had 9 or 10 months of lawn season down here, that it would start raining in March and it would rain clear through November, and it was wonderful. For the last 3 years, we've had about 5 months of lawn service. We've had no rain. Everything around here has died for 6 or 8 months a year. The grass is dying. It's not that it's not growing, it's just turning brown and dying. Trees and everything else. And of course, I live in Florida. My heart is at the beach. My heart is in boats. I've been a licensed captain since 1999. And I never thought that you guys would be so interested in lawnmowers and weed eaters and chainsaws. But in Florida, we have boating season 365 days a year. There isn't a day that goes by, barring a hurricane, that you can't boat, because it's always warm even when it's cold. And I'm surrounded by oceans 100 miles in every direction. So we're doing boats, boat motors, jet skis, because there's no off season. My videos won't stop getting views come September, October, until next season, when the grass starts to grow again and the rains start to come and people start to think, oh well, I need to fix my lawnmower. Boating isn't like that. So you're going to be seeing boats, boat motors, jet skis, anything marine related. And today is the first video of that. The first motor, you can see I've got 3 of them here. There's a few surprises on the way. There's other motors coming. The first motor that I'm going to be working on is this Mercury here. This is a 1973 Mercury 7.5 horse. I picked this motor up from a subscriber for $50. And I have done 0 to it. Well, that's not true. I got overexcited. This motor's been sitting here for about 2 weeks while I finished up all of the lawnmower and zero turn videos. There's a new zero turn video coming out. I had to rebuild the whole engine. I wanted to get most of that stuff done and off my plate so that I could switch over to boat motors. So I have checked the compression on this. Compression is good. On both cylinders, it's 100 psi. So that is important. This thing was purchased from a man, a subscriber. If you're watching, thank you so much. I had to drive about 90 minutes each way to pick this up. The motor itself is pretty clean. It's got a little bit of dust on it from sitting. The man told me it was his father's motor, and his father had passed away, and he didn't know anything about it. So in the style of truth for my channel, I will tell you that I did check the compression. We're at 100 psi. This is a 2-cylinder. It has 2 pistons, 2 spark plugs. They're each at 100 psi. It does have spark, and I got overexcited and I sprayed a little bit of fuel into the carburetor just like I do on my lawnmowers. I gave it a pull and she started right up. First pull, no BS, started right up. Now I haven't done anything to it since. I guarantee you I'm going to have to change the gear oil in the lower unit. I'm going to have to put a new impeller in it. I'm already ready to do those things, but this motor was taken pretty good care of. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to hook up the fuel tank, which is right here. And unbelievably, I have tanks, but as you can see, I had to go to the store and buy a new line because the fuel line was rotted and the primer bulb was hard as a rock. 42 bucks for a stupid fuel line and $60 for tanks. So thank gosh I have tanks. But if you are in the market for those things and you can get them thrown in with a used outboard, by all means do it, because that's 100 bucks if you have to go to the store and buy that stuff. $110 with a stupid fitting. So the only thing that I know for sure that's wrong, this wire has come off. This is your kill button right here. You push that in to stop the engine, and that gets connected up here, right through there. So in order to stop it, I'm going to have to put that up there so I can hit that. So I'm going to do that real quick, probably just with some alligator clips or something. I'm going to fill up my barrel with water just in case the impeller's good. I'm only going to run it for a minute or two. If it runs, this is going to tell me whether I need to clean the carburetor, and I'm sure that I need to anyway, but I'm kind of interested to see how this thing sounds. It sounded really good when it fired up for the 2 seconds I had it running. So let me get a hose, fill this up. Let me attach this wire up here where it belongs, and I'm going to plug in my fuel tank right here. This one is the Johnson. Oops, don't go crooked. This one is just the old Johnson fitting, and thankfully the man had the tank and the old fuel line, so I was able to get the Johnson fitting off of it. Just plugs in here, push it in, give it a twist, and it's connected, and all we'll have to do is hit the primer bulb a few times, fill the line in the carburetor, and we'll see if she's going to start. So let me get this thing filled with water and I'll be right back. Alright, filled up my bucket with some water. Maybe a little bit too high, but there is a screw hole at the bottom that I had to fill in with a screw, so it's going to slowly leak. And it's not too high, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I've hooked up my fuel line, I have primed the line, and I do have some fuel drippage from the carburetor. So the carburetor definitely needs to be cleaned out and rebuilt. That's not a big deal. We're going to do that in the next video. Right now, I just want to see if it'll start on its own and if it'll run and that kind of thing. So choke on. We're going to put this in the start position. Now that it's got fuel pressurized, it's a little bit hard to move. There it goes. Alright, yeah, I think it was just stuck on something. Okay, so that's fast. That's start. Chokes on. It's in neutral. Let's give it a few pulls and see what happens. Choke off. You always got to go through this dance of where everything needs to be. Extra fuel. Choke on. How about halfway? be in neutral. Choke on. Let's take that wire back off. Maybe it's taking away the spark. Okay. Alright, she's trying. Woo! Pulling this thing is not easy. I've been messing with the choke and the throttle. Now it's gonna make a liar out of me. Started twice. Okay. We're gonna get the electric start. Well, I decided to leave the last two clips in where I pulled my brains out. And, well, this is still a 2-cycle machine. And 2 cycles are notoriously a pain in the butt when something's wrong. It's like trying to pull your chainsaw or your weed eater. You pull it 200 times until you can't breathe. I was going to take off the pull cord assembly here. There's a bolt on each side. But this particular one is all one piece into my coils, and that's not really something that I want to do. I don't want to take the coils off to be able to get to that and then try and make sure everything's running. So we do have a drip of fuel coming out of the bottom of the carburetor, but I just wanted to show you, since we're making the video, I pulled the plugs and they look fine. They're nice and dry and clean. So we do just like we do with lawnmowers. Put a little bit of starting fluid in there. Now I know you're going to say there's no oil in there. We're only making sure that everything's in good condition. And when we do that, okay, so we know for a fact, just like with lawnmowers, we have a fuel issue. With this thing dripping fuel, I already know that some stuff on the inside is in bad condition, and I already know this needs to be rebuilt. So I'm going to go ahead and order the rebuild kit for this. We're going to go ahead and put this thing back together, but as you can see, she will run. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Chances are this is the middle of a video, so if you made it this far, I appreciate it. If I do decide to make this portion a separate video, I wanted to do a quick intro. So thanks for stopping by. We're about to break 4,000 subscribers. It's been like 5 weeks and we've made 1,000 subscribers. So please, tell your friends, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep watching. Thanks so much. So today, we're back. It's been about a week. We're back on this Mercury. See if I can get this tripod set. 7.5 horsepower. The carburetor kit came in the mail, and I've been catching up on some other projects. So the last video, the last clip you saw, I was talking about spinning the motor. What I meant by taking off this cover, the recoil cover with the recoil in it, and having my magnetic coils attached to it, I was going to take that off and put a drill on top and spin it with the drill, because sometimes with a 2-stroke, it just, you got to pull your brains out in order to get things to work. And that's what I was talking about, taking the cover off. I didn't want to do. So what we got right here, let's see if I can get you in there just a little bit and show you what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to film cleaning the carburetor or not, the rebuild kit and all. There's tons of videos out there on that. You have a bolt right here, a nut, I'm sorry, that attaches to that bolt, and a nut right there that attaches to that bolt. That's the main body of the carburetor. Okay, then on the bottom right here, see if I can get to it, you have your fuel line is connected to your fuel fitting. So I undid that hose clamp right there. I took this bolt out. This is what holds your choke cable to the body of the carburetor. So I took that off so that I could take this choke cable out of the way. I'm going to take the choke cable off. It's just held on just like that. Just feed it off. There you go. I believe that's all I had to take off in order to get that carburetor out of there. You can see now it's loose, and the only thing that's holding it on right now is that hose. And we have a fuel leak, and I'm looking at that hose, and that hose is in pretty bad shape. So I don't know whether the fuel leak was coming from that hose or whether it was coming out of the bottom of the carburetor. But my tripod fell over. It's getting windy. We're expecting another storm today. It rained so bad last night that my neighbor's yard looked like a swimming pool. And we had portions that looked like a swimming pool as well. And we're a couple of feet higher. It's kind of a downhill that goes to my backyard neighbor. So that was fun to watch. Hoping that I get my hurricane straps on there. We've got a tropical storm heading this way. But anyway, it was really easy to take this off. All I needed was a 7/16 wrench to take off the two main nuts on the bolts that hold the carburetor on, and a 3/8 to undo the bolt that holds the choke in place. And now I've taken off my screwdriver, I've taken off my hose clamp. I know you really can't see it. I'm going to use my screwdriver to pry that fuel line off. And now the fun part is trying to maneuver this thing around, because up top here we have our bump lever for our throttle advance. It's not attached to anything, but it's kind of in there. I don't want to have to take it off, so just kind of twiddle it, move it, make sure I didn't miss anything or forget anything. And now we've got our carburetor out. This is the extent of the entire fuel line. It's got a little nub here that looks like it goes into my fuel pump, and it may be broken. It may be made that way, or it might be broken. I can't tell right now. Oh, it looks like it's broken. The fuel pump's broken. So that's most likely where our fuel leak was coming from. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that in there or not. Probably not, but there's the nub. So that end broke right off of there. I don't know whether I'll be able to fix that. Probably not. Most likely I'm going to have to buy a fuel rebuild kit for this. But what I'm going to do now is rebuild the rest of the carburetor. I'm going to take this all apart, rebuild everything inside, clean it, get it right. I'm going to see if I can pull that out just a little bit, put that back into place temporarily, because it seems to fit pretty snug in there, and see if she's going to run before I spend the money on a new fuel pump cover, which is what this is. We're going to see if she'll run. So let's take it in, put it on the bench. I may film cleaning it, I don't know. Alright, so the last part of this video was me taking the carburetor off of this machine. Now, a few minutes ago, I filmed a separate video rebuilding said carburetor, which will come out the very next video after this, because this video is coming out on Saturday. There's the carburetor. I just rebuilt it. So what I'm gonna do now is reinstall it. And I did mess up. I realized while I was editing the first portion of this video, verbally I said this was the choke cable, and being that I got up after 2 hours of sleep to meet a customer at 6:30 and rebuilt that carburetor in my sleep, I wasn't paying attention, and I wrote across the top of the carburetor rebuild video that it was in fact the throttle but it isn't. The throttle on this is a direct drive linkage right there. So you don't need to see this. It's the exact opposite of what I just showed you pulling it apart. I'm going to take and reinstall the carburetor, put the choke cable back on, make sure that the throttle plate, the advance plate, is in where it's supposed to be, hook up my new fuel lines, and I will bring you back and let's see if this thing will start up. Okay, the bucket's full of water, the carburetor's back on. The fuel line that's on the intake that I said I wasn't sure if it was broken or not is leaking. So I'm going to have to pull this back off and glue the stud back into the plastic intake. But for the moment, I want to see if this thing is going to run. It hasn't run in a decade or more. So my choke is back on. I didn't mess with the settings on this jet. Let's just give it a few pumps and see if it'll be getting enough gas to stay running. And then we'll figure out how to kill it. I want to see if it's pumping water. I want to see if it swaps into gear. So let's just see if it'll start. Okay, let's try half choke. Well, she's a runner. It is not pumping water. We're getting no water back there. And we're leaking fuel here, so I gotta fix that. All right. And I gotta fix the cutoff switch, but at least we got a runner. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull this plastic intake, this screw right here. I'm gonna pull this plastic intake back off. I'm gonna pull the fuel line, and I'm gonna glue that stud back in there so that we have no fuel leak. Then I'm going to hook up my kill wire, and I don't know if the switch even moves or whatever. I'm going to figure that out. And I think that it died. Well, there's a setting up here on the carburetor, and obviously we are sucking air in there. If it's leaking fuel out, it's sucking air in. So I'm going to fix those couple of things, and then I'm going to bring you back and see if we can tweak this carburetor in and whatnot. I will let you know what I used as far as glue to put that stud back in the fuel intake. I'm gonna have to figure that out today, and then probably leave it overnight set up. Something has to be where fuel won't act as a solvent and let it loose. I'm gonna figure that out, and I'll be right back. Well, there you go, guys. I still have a drip coming out of the carburetor. I think the bowl is loose underneath. And there's going to be a little bit of carb adjustment that has to be done. I did shift it into forward and neutral and reverse. And we're good. The gears work just fine. It's smoking a little. I can't tell. Let me shut this off. You can hear it sounds pretty good though, eh? I hooked up the line that comes off my kill switch. Actually came up and went right there. I had to put a new end on it, put that back together, get my kill switch back. Like I said, there's still a carburetor leak. I believe I just didn't tighten the bowl enough. There's a leak coming right out of the center of the carburetor where the bolt holds it on, and there is a slight leak. I have to replace this fuel line. There's a slight leak there, and that's it. There'll be an adjustment that has to be made once this once the impeller gets replaced. I can't see any water coming out from the back of the motor. and I'm guessing that the impeller is shot, so I don't want to run it for too long until I replace that impeller. I didn't want to buy the impeller until I knew that she was going to run, because I'd already spent money on carb rebuild kits. So a little bit of tweaking on that carburetor. I'm going to have to pull it off just so I can tighten the nut that holds the bowl up. But as you saw, it's not difficult to take these off. It's literally 2 nuts and a bolt, and she comes off. She's a runner. So I'm gonna make the impeller a separate video, because I want to get this video posted this Saturday. It's the next day from earlier in the video. So there you go. This one turned out not to be too bad. In the next video, you'll see me rebuild the carburetor, and the video after that will be the impeller, where I will move the motor from the inside of my bucket to the outside, or to one of my racks, so that I can drop the lower unit on it, replace the impeller, put it back. But she shifts real strong, forward and reverse. Neutral kicks the blades off. This thing's in real good shape, and I don't know whether I'll be keeping this. You know, I have to fund the channel, so more than likely I'll be selling it so that I can buy whatever parts for whichever one of these next outboards I do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is going to help people understand that I don't just do lawnmowers and weed eaters. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Subscribe if you haven't, somewhere between my chin and my balls, and we'll see you on the next one.